What happens when the man who owns 15 restaurants puts on an apron and realizes his staff is drowning right in front of him? Liam Keller had built his diner chain from a single food truck in Detroit to 15 busy locations across the Midwest. He was proud of what it had become: good food, fast service, and a reputation for treating employees like family. But lately, something didn't sit right. Complaints had started slipping through the cracks, not about the food but about the people. Staff turnover was climbing. A couple of recent online reviews mentioned rude managers, employees crying in the back, and cold service. Liam didn't like guessing. He needed to see it for himself. He picked the 11th location, one of the busiest, sitting off a highway outside Indianapolis. It had opened 3 years ago. Strong numbers, but lately, complaints had doubled. Liam had never personally visited it. The staff had only seen photos of him from corporate newsletters. None had ever met him in person. He shaved his beard, wore thick glasses, dyed his hair gray, and went by Gary. A fake resume showed him as a laid-off warehouse worker trying to get back on his feet. The company's HR team helped him slip in as a new trainee. The location manager had no clue who he really was. "Hey, new guy," barked a tall man in a wrinkled dress shirt as Liam walked in. "I'm Bryce. I'm the manager here. You follow what I say, you stay out of my way, and we'll get along." Liam forced a smile. Got it. The first 4 hours were chaos. Lunch rush hit hard. Orders flew in. Fries sizzled. Plates clattered. Bryce barked non-stop, mostly at the servers. Liam washed dishes, wiped tables, and tried to keep up. He noticed something fast: everyone looked tired. Not just physically, but emotionally drained. "Gary, grab those trays and bring 'em out," Bryce yelled. "And don't just stand there like a clown." Liam nodded and rushed to the window. At the front, a young waitress was trying to balance a tray while wiping her eyes. She was slim, maybe 22, with dark circles under her eyes and a name tag that said Riley T. "You okay?" Liam asked, gently. She sniffled and forced a smile. "Yeah, just allergies." But Liam had seen enough people cry to know the difference. Later, as the rush slowed, Riley stepped into the back and quietly approached Bryce. Hey Bryce," she said softly. "I know the weekend's going to be busy, but I really need Saturday off. My mom's getting out of the hospital and..." "Nope," Bryce cut her off before she finished. "You already asked last week. You're on the schedule. Figure it out." "I've worked 6 days straight, and you'll work 7 if I say so," he snapped. "You people think the world stops for your problems. You're not special. You want a job, be here. That's it." Riley's face crumbled. She turned away, but not fast enough. Liam saw tears spill down her cheeks as she walked past him and into the storage room. He froze. He wasn't supposed to step in. Not yet. But something about it, the way Bryce dismissed her like she didn't matter, hit him in the gut. He walked back to the sink, grabbed a towel, and stared at the metal basin. This wasn't what he built. This wasn't how his restaurants were supposed to feel. "Yo, Gary," Bryce snapped. "You deaf now, too? You clean that fryer yet?" Liam didn't answer. He was still watching the door Riley had walked through. He didn't need more reports. He didn't need an email or a complaint. He was standing in it, and he wasn't going to ignore it. The door to the storage room stayed closed for several minutes. Liam didn't move from the sink. He kept his back to the kitchen, quietly scrubbing the same tray over and over while his mind ran hot. He'd come here to observe, to understand, but now he was tangled in it. The desperation on Riley's face wasn't something he could unsee. A sharp bang startled him. Bryce had slammed the freezer door shut and was stalking back through the kitchen. "Where's that new guy?" he muttered, glancing around. His eyes landed on Liam. "You still on that tray? Jesus. This isn't a daycare. Pick up the pace, unless you're planning to be back here washing dishes till midnight." Liam nodded once, set the tray aside, and grabbed the next without speaking. Bryce didn't wait for a reply. He pushed through the swinging doors and disappeared into the dining area. As soon as he was gone, the storage room door creaked open. Riley stepped out, wiping her hands on her apron, eyes red but dry. She pulled her hair back into a braid and went straight to the drink station, checking the syrup levels without saying a word. Her shoulders were squared, but her movements were mechanical, like she had to keep moving or risk falling apart again. There was nothing Liam could say that would make it better, not now, not like this. So he let her work. The dinner prep kicked in fast. A few high schoolers clocked in 2 line cooks and a cashier, but it still wasn't enough for the flow of customers pouring in. By 5:30, the kitchen was short-staffed and behind. Orders stacked up on the screen. The fryer beeped constantly. Liam was tossed between wiping trays, prepping sauces, and tossing baskets of onion rings into the oil. "Gary," Bryce barked from the other side of the grill. "You're not doing me a favor by being here. Move like you've got a spine." Liam kept his head down. The cooks weren't speaking much, but the tension in the room was thick. The youngest one, a kid named Joel, barely looked old enough to drive. He moved too slow for Bryce's liking and got barked at every 5 minutes. Not once did Bryce help on the line. He paced, criticized, and occasionally stepped outside to take calls. At 6:15, 2 customers walked up to the counter, one in a mechanic's uniform, the other wearing a security badge. They looked hungry and tired. The cashier, a girl named Morgan, greeted them politely and took their order. Everything was going smoothly until Joel accidentally dropped a burger patty on the floor. It wasn't a disaster. He grabbed another one, reloaded the grill, and kept working. But Bryce saw it. "You gonna cost me inventory now?" Bryce snapped, storming over. "How hard is it to flip a damn burger?" Joel didn't answer, he just kept his head down. "Hey," Bryce said louder, tapping the metal counter. "I'm talking to you. You screw up again, you're out. You hear me?" Joel gave the smallest nod. The 2 customers waiting at the counter turned to each other, eyebrows raised. "Is he always like that?" the mechanic asked, loud enough for anyone to hear. Morgan gave them a tight smile but didn't answer. Bryce ignored it. "Someone clean that up," he ordered, pointing at the fallen patty. "I'm not running a shelter for screw-ups here." Liam stepped forward with a towel and cleaned the floor silently. Bryce's face twisted like he wanted to say more, but then his phone buzzed and he walked off, muttering, by 8 the rush had slowed. Joel was finishing up his shift and looked like he hadn't taken a breath in 2 hours. As he clocked out, he passed Liam near the back sink. "Thanks for covering," he said quietly. Liam nodded. "Rough day," Joel gave a small laugh. "It's always like this. I don't think he even knows my name. Calls me kid or hey you. I'm just trying to save up for community college, you know?" Liam wanted to tell him someone saw him. That not everyone in charge was blind or cruel, but he bit it back. Not yet. Once Joel left, Riley emerged from the back hallway carrying a tray of clean forks. She set it down near the dish station and glanced over at Liam. "First day's a lot, huh?" she asked. "More than I expected," Liam replied. She hesitated, then leaned on the counter. "Hey, listen, I know I barely know you, but if you're looking for something long-term, this probably isn't it. Because of the hours, because of Bryce," she said. "We've lost 5 people in the last 2 months. One girl quit mid-shift, just walked out, couldn't take it anymore." Liam stayed quiet. "He's got a way of making you feel like you owe him your time, your energy, even your dignity. And it's not just him, it's how corporate lets him run this place. No one checks on us, no one asks questions, so he does whatever he wants. You ever file a complaint?" She gave a bitter laugh. "To who?" "HR, you think they care? We get the same generic email every quarter. Tell us how we're doing. I filled it out once. Never heard a word." Liam's jaw tightened. Riley studied his face. "You're not just here for the paycheck, are you?" He glanced at the sink. "I'm here for answers." She didn't ask more. She didn't need to. The next morning, Liam came in early. The prep cook hadn't shown up, so he helped slice tomatoes and refill condiments. Bryce strolled in around 10, carrying a large coffee and a bag from a nearby cafe. "Don't touch my stuff," he said, dropping the bag on the manager's desk. "No one eats my lunch but me. Had some idiot try to take a bite last week. I fired him." Morgan walked in behind him, tying her apron. "You fired Andre?" "Damn right I did. Don't touch things that aren't yours." "That's basic." Liam watched Morgan's expression shift, but she said nothing. By mid-morning, Bryce was sitting in the office with the door cracked open. Riley was on the floor when a family of 4 came in, a young couple with 2 toddlers, both kids chattering excitedly. Riley greeted them, grabbed a high chair, and helped them settle in. The father asked if they could split a meal between the kids. Riley said of course and brought an extra plate. Bryce stepped out of the office just then, eyeing the interaction. "We don't do split meals," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The father looked confused. She said it was okay. Bryce ignored him and turned to Riley. "We're not running a soup kitchen. Every plate gets paid for. You want to comp stuff, you pay for it out of your check." "That's not what policy says," Riley said quietly but firmly. Bryce stepped closer. "You want to argue? I'll write you up right now." Liam set down the mop and walked over. "I read the policy," he said. "Split plates for children are allowed, no extra charge." Bryce turned. "You don't get to quote policy to me, dishwasher. You don't like how I run this place. There's the door." Liam pulled off his glasses. "I think I'll stay," he said. "And I think you'll want to listen very carefully to what I say next." Bryce's eyes narrowed. "You think you're tough now? I'm Liam Keller," he said, voice steady. "I own this company." Silence fell across the restaurant. Morgan froze by the soda machine. Riley's mouth parted slightly, stunned. Even the family at the table went still, watching. Bryce blinked. "You're lying." "I've been here for 2 days," Liam said. "Watched you berate teenagers, humiliate employees, and refuse time off for a family emergency. You don't teach, you don't lead. You threaten and hide in the office." Bryce's face flushed red. "You can't just walk in here and pretend to be one of us." "I didn't pretend. I worked your shift, Bryce, and I saw more in that one dinner rush than I ever wanted to see." Bryce looked around, but no one came to his defense. "Hand me your keys," Liam said. "You're done." Bryce hesitated, then tossed the key ring on the counter and stormed out without a word. Silence held for another moment before Riley exhaled and leaned on the counter for support. Liam looked around the room. "I owe all of you a serious apology. No one should have to work under those conditions, and starting today, that ends." The door hadn't even closed behind Bryce before Riley stepped away from the counter, her palms flat against her apron like she was steadying herself. "Are you really him?" she asked, eyes locked on Liam. Liam nodded. "I didn't come here planning to fire anyone. I came to listen. But there's a line, and he crossed it." Morgan leaned against the soda machine, her expression unreadable. "People have quit over less than what he said today. I think most of us just assumed. This was how it worked." "What you saw," Liam said, "is not how it should work. Not here, not anywhere." A few customers were still eating quietly, sneaking glances at the scene, unsure if they should stay. Liam turned to Riley. "Can you run things for the next hour?" "Just enough to keep orders moving. I need to speak with the team, whoever's off shift. Get them in tomorrow morning. Paid, of course." She gave a cautious nod. "Yeah, I can hold it together. Thank you, I'll be back." "Morgan, can I speak with you in the office?" Inside the cramped manager's office, Morgan sat in the chair Bryce had claimed as his throne, her hands folded, eyes fixed on the paperwork still scattered across the desk. "Have you ever managed a shift before?" Liam asked. She hesitated. "Only once. When Bryce was late last year, I had to open. He yelled at me after because I let someone take a break during the rush." Liam sat across from her. "Would you be willing to take interim leadership of this location? Just for the next few days until I can get someone in from our training team." Her jaw tightened. "I don't know if I'm ready." "You're already doing it," Liam said. "You stayed calm when he didn't. You de-escalated situations before they got worse. That's what leadership is." She looked down at the floor. "I know what this place has felt like, but I don't know what it's supposed to feel like." "Then let's build that version together." She exhaled slowly. "I'll try. Good. First thing, get everyone their proper breaks. Meals too. And I want a group meeting tomorrow morning. I'll bring breakfast. I want to hear from everyone." By late evening, the mood in the restaurant was tentative but lighter. With Bryce's absence, Riley had taken over the floor with quiet efficiency. She wasn't loud or commanding, but people listened when she gave direction. Even the kitchen, though still understaffed, moved with less tension. As Liam helped wipe down tables, Joel returned to grab the jacket he'd forgotten earlier. He paused when he saw Liam behind the counter. "You're still here," Liam handed him the jacket. "You're coming to the meeting tomorrow," Joel blinked. "I thought only senior staff. I want everyone. Every voice matters." Joel nodded slowly. "Okay. I'll be here." That night, Liam stayed late, reviewing shift logs and scheduling records in the back office. What he saw confirmed what he already suspected: excessive double shifts, skipped breaks logged as taken, and a disturbing number of voluntary resignations that were anything but. He left after midnight with a list of names and a plan to make things right. The next morning, the team gathered before opening. The lobby was quiet, the chairs pushed to the side so everyone could sit in a semicircle. Liam stood in front of them, coffee in hand, a whiteboard behind him with a marker. "I want to start with something simple," he said. "What's one thing you wish someone in corporate knew?" For a moment, no one spoke. Then Riley raised her hand. "That when people quit here, it's not because they're lazy, it's because they're exhausted." Liam nodded and wrote it down. "Not lazy, exhausted." Morgan added, "We're told to smile no matter what. But sometimes, we're covering for each other just so someone can eat." Another note, "Smiling doesn't mean everything's fine." Joel cleared his throat. "When I started, I thought this was temporary, just a job, but even for a job, you want to matter. You want someone to notice if you're doing it right." Liam paused, then wrote, "Being seen matters." The board filled quickly. Lack of training, inconsistent schedules, no room to grow, fear of speaking up. Every voice added something new, something sharp, something real. When it quieted, Liam turned back to them. "I didn't come here expecting to find this, but I'm grateful I did, because now I can fix it." He turned to Morgan. "Starting today, Morgan is acting manager. I've cleared it with HR. She'll be supported by a regional trainer who will be on site within 48 hours. Morgan's eyes widened, but she nodded. "Riley," Liam continued, "I read your time cards. You've worked back-to-back closing and opening shifts more than anyone here. That ends now. You'll be given your requested days off, and we're implementing shift caps, no more than 5 consecutive shifts without a full day off." Riley looked down, then back up, blinking quickly. "Thank you, Joel," Liam said. "You deserve to work somewhere that invests in your future. We'll cover the cost of your community college classes starting next semester, and we'll work your schedule around them." Joel sat back in his chair, stunned. Everyone looked to Liam, now waiting, expectant, unsure if the change would last. "There's one more thing," Liam said. "I'm not going back to headquarters right away. I'll be shadowing other locations over the next few weeks. Nothing announced, no press, no filters, just me showing up." He looked around the room. "This isn't just about Bryce. This is about the culture we allowed to form in his absence. That's on me, so now I'm here to rebuild it." After the meeting, Liam stayed to help with the morning prep. He worked beside Morgan, who was reviewing inventory with a clipboard, and Riley, who restocked condiments without being asked. At one point, Liam turned to Morgan. "Do you know who might be ready to step into a shift lead role behind you?" She tapped her pen against the clipboard. "There's a guy named Devin. He usually works nights, quiet but dependable. He's been overlooked. Let's not overlook him anymore." As customers trickled in, the energy on the floor had changed. Still busy, still loud, but not tense, not heavy. There was movement, but no fear behind it. Later that afternoon, Liam stepped outside to take a call from HR. While he spoke, a woman walked up pushing a stroller. She looked tired, her sweatshirt worn at the cuffs. "Excuse me," she said. "I was just wondering, is Riley here?" Liam nodded. "She is. Should I get her?" "I'm her sister," the woman said. "She said I could meet her on break. I just didn't know if she'd actually have one." Liam smiled. "She will today." Inside, Riley spotted her sister through the front window and smiled, an actual one this time, not the one she used with customers. She untied her apron and headed toward the front. Liam watched her go. It wasn't fixed. Not yet. But for the first time, It was moving in the right direction. 3 days later, the Indianapolis location of Keller's diner opened its doors under an entirely different rhythm. The shift schedule was still tight. There hadn't been time to hire new team members yet, but the energy had changed. Quiet confidence replaced survival mode tension. Every person on that floor knew someone at the top had finally listened. Liam arrived just after 7 that morning, dressed in a plain navy polo and the same jeans he'd worn during his stint as Gary. No disguise this time. He stepped inside and gave a nod to Morgan, who was checking inventory with a clipboard in hand. Her hair was tied up, her posture focused, and for the first time since she'd stepped into leadership, she didn't hesitate before making a decision. "Devin's coming in early today," she said, flipping a page. "He offered, said he wanted to help with the prep since we're still short." Liam leaned against the counter. "You trust him with the line?" "I do. He's fast and he notices the little things." "Yesterday when the fryer oil started clouding, he pulled it without being told. That's not nothing." "Then give him the line this evening," Liam said. "Let's see how he does with pressure." Morgan didn't need to be convinced. "He'll rise to it." By mid-morning, the first wave of customers had come and gone. Joel had taken the breakfast shift and was off at 11, clocking out just as Riley walked in, fresh from her day off. She looked rested, not fully recovered, but no longer carrying that glassy-eyed fatigue Liam had seen when he first met her. As she pulled on her apron, Liam joined her near the back sink. "You got time for a quick walk-through?" he asked. "Sure," she said, tying off the strap behind her back. They made their way through the narrow kitchen. Liam stopped near the prep station and pointed to a list taped to the wall. "I noticed you added a prep checklist. That you?" Riley nodded. "The closing crew was leaving the tomatoes out again. Figured if we had it in writing, fewer things would slip. I like it. It's simple, clear, and no one can claim they didn't know." She gave a slight grin. "I didn't want to make a big deal about it, just wanted it to work." "That's exactly why it works." He paused. "I saw your sister the other day. She mentioned you were helping her with medical forms." Riley's face registered surprise, then a trace of embarrassment. "Yeah, she doesn't really do paperwork. I've been handling her disability forms since January." "You ever consider management?" Liam asked. She blinked. "Me, you've already been doing the hardest part, holding people together quietly. You don't need to be loud to lead." "I don't think I'm the type," she said carefully. "I've never wanted to be the one giving orders. Leadership doesn't start with giving orders. It starts with taking responsibility. You've done that more than most." She didn't answer right away, then said, "If I could do it without becoming someone like him, then maybe." "You can," Liam said. "And if you decide to try, we'll support you." That afternoon, a regional trainer named Darla arrived. She was in her late 40s, calm-eyed and efficient, with 15 years in food service and no tolerance for shortcuts. She spent her first hour reviewing Bryce's old records, then met with Morgan and Liam behind the front counter. "I've already flagged 3 violations," Darla said. "Clock-ins during unpaid breaks, meal times marked but not taken, and 2 terminations that were never processed through HR. One of them, a girl named Tanya, technically still shows as active in the payroll system." Morgan rubbed her temple. "She walked out mid-shift after Bryce berated her in front of a customer, said she was going to the bathroom and never came back." "Find her contact info," Liam said. "We'll reach out personally. She deserves more than silence." "Also," Darla added, flipping a page, "I spoke with the dishwasher who quit 2 weeks ago. His name's Miguel. Bryce told HR he was unreliable and refused to show up, but Miguel says he was told to clean up a broken jar with bare hands. When he asked for gloves, Bryce told him, 'Real men don't need protection.'" Liam's expression hardened. "We're paying Miguel's last 2 weeks and offering him re-employment." Immediately, Darla nodded. Already in motion. By the evening rush, tempers ran high but never boiled over. Devin took the line and held it down with steady speed. He didn't raise his voice once, but barked orders clearly when needed. Morgan hovered early on, ready to step in, but never did. At one point, he caught a ticket with a missing allergy note and flagged it before it hit the grill. "Good eye," Morgan said as she passed him a new slip. "Can't have someone going into anaphylaxis on my shift," he replied. "I like customers breathing." Riley was back on the floor, weaving between tables with a rhythm that was all muscle memory. She passed Liam near the condiment caddy. "You sticking around for close?" she asked. "Yeah, I want to see how the night ends. Then you'll see us mop like champions." The last table left at 10:15. The crew cleaned in near silence, not because they were drained, but because they had a rhythm now. Everyone knew what needed to be done. No one had to fear being yelled at for missing a wipe down or clocking out 3 minutes late. As Liam pushed in the last chair, Morgan approached, holding her phone. "I got a response from Tanya," she said. "She said she's not ready to come back, but she appreciated the message. Said she cried when she read it." Liam nodded. Sometimes, the apology matters more than the offer. He looked around the empty dining room, the lights dimmed to their closing setting. For the first time since he'd walked in as Gary, there was no tension lingering in the air. Just quiet. The next morning, Liam met with Darla and the general HR lead for the region in a rented conference room 2 blocks from the restaurant. A laptop sat open with spreadsheets, notes, and a long list of recommended actions. "Effective immediately," Darla began, "we're launching a quarterly rotation audit. Every manager will be reviewed anonymously by their team twice a year, and those results will directly impact their standing. We're also overhauling the complaint system," the HR lead added. "No more anonymous inboxes that go nowhere. Every complaint will be assigned a caseworker and tracked with a resolution timeline." Liam signed off without hesitation. "If someone's afraid to speak up, we've already failed." The final change came from Liam himself. "We're creating a new role, employee advocate, 1 per region. Someone who doesn't report to store leadership or HR. They'll exist to listen and elevate concerns without fear of retaliation." By the end of the week, the Indianapolis location had a full-time shift supervisor in Devon, a newly promoted assistant floor lead in Riley, and Morgan confirmed as general manager. None of them had to apply. They'd already earned it. Liam stood near the front doors that Friday just before dinner. Joel walked in wearing a clean shirt and carrying a folder. "You off today?" Liam asked. "Yeah, just came to drop this off." He handed over the folder. Inside were his class registration forms. "You're really doing it," Liam said. "Yeah, I figured if you're willing to bet on me, I should probably bet on myself." "You'll do fine," Liam said, "and you've got a job here as long as you want it." Joel nodded. "Thanks for everything." As the evening crowd began to arrive, Liam stepped aside and watched the team move. No one glanced over their shoulder. No one flinched when a customer raised a hand. The kitchen called orders with clarity. The floor staff moved like they belonged. He stepped outside into the fading light of a quiet spring evening and paused at the edge of the sidewalk. This wasn't the end of the work, but it was the end of pretending everything was fine, and that, finally, was enough to build on.